What is up, people? Back for another quick guide. In the background footage has absolutely nothing to do with what we're talking about right now. I actually am just, I'm still working on the Mastery Citadel of Flame stuff, and this is actually, being recorded around the same time as I have another video coming out of how to do this Citadel of Flame Mastery experience farming while it's still a thing. But this quick guide is going to kind of be on, one of the biggest problems that we seem to be having with Heart of Thorns, or that people are having, is the fact that the elite specializations are hidden behind these massive hero point barriers, and the only way to get those is to go into the Heart of Thorns areas and do the hero challenges. Now, the hero challenges require certain masteries, which requires experience farming, which a lot of people do not like. Some people have resorted to going to world versus world and leveling to get the masteries done, or the hero points. But needless to say, a lot of you are fairly pissed, and I can understand why to a good extent. Though I personally don't have any gripes with it, because it didn't take me too long to get it done. I can understand where a lot of you guys' complaints are coming from. So, and again, I also understand that ArenaNet is probably working to change it with all the complaints, but it's going to take them a little bit to figure out a system. So in the meantime, I'm going to give you kind of a rundown on the best ways you can get through the grinding farm, or the farming grind, or whatever it is, the best way to get through that mess. So the first thing you got to do, hopefully you did map completion, but, the biggest gripe a lot of people have is that they wanted to go through the new content with their new elite specs. So, if you did all the map completion, you should be able to unlock about half of the elite specialization. So, if you can do that, my first advice would be to do that, and even though it's only half of the specialization, bring that into the jungle with you, because you can still have a fully viable build with your specialization, even though it's a little more difficult and it might require some group help. There's no reason why it can't be done. So if you're able to do that, if you're playing a class like the Reaper where you are able to have part of the specialization and still do the content with maybe 2 or 3 other friends, then I would recommend doing it. The other thing is, though, I understand it's not, you're not leveling to 80, but if you go at it with the mentality of leveling to 80, it's not the end goal that is the prize, it's the exploring the jungle and kind of getting that elite specialization is a byproduct. And I saw someone post this in a forum today. They said, it sucks that we have to do this, but if you look at it like we did when Gw2 originally came out, where when we were farming to get to level 80, it wasn't about getting to level 80, it was about questing and doing all that stuff, and getting to level 80 was kind of just a byproduct of that in the beginning. If you look at it with that same sort of mentality of the elite specialization is a byproduct of exploring the jungle, it does actually tend to go a lot quicker. Now, obviously, a lot of people aren't going to be able to do that because, they want their elite specialization now, and it is kind of ridiculous what's going on. But nonetheless, until they fix it, that's kind of what we got to do. The next thing you can do is try to spread out the elite specialization. Obviously, because it's really not that easy to just go through those hero challenges. Even if you build a survivable build, you can get burned out really quickly. So my recommendation is, if you get burned out, do some other stuff. Do the story mode in Maguma. That will help you get the masteries you need. Do some events in Maguma. Dragon's Stand is actually quite fun if you get into a good raid, or not a raid, but if you get into a good zone that's running it through nice and heavily. It's quite a nice way to farm experience while still working toward your goal of getting all the masteries. Also, like in the original Guild Wars 2, it's not always as simple. The build we tend to use for our level 80 stuff is not the same build we use to level, because it's just not as viable for soloing. So make sure you think about that. I mean, it didn't dawn on me until a little while after I started farming Maguma that maybe the build I was using was not necessarily the most efficient for soloing content. And once I got that mindset and, switched back to my more survival solo build, things became a lot easier to solo. Hero challenges were much easier to do by myself, and if I had another person, there was not one I could do without a second person. All of them were easily done with 2 people. So, if you get a more survivable build, it's not even about switching gear as much as it is just having the survivable stuff. Like for Necromancer, Minion Master is a very good soloing build. So even with the normal gear I have, just having the minions out and easily building the break bar, or breaking the enemy's break bar, is fairly easy. On the note of the break bar, when you're fighting the champions, it makes it extremely easy if you can remember to keep breaking the break bar whenever you get the chance. Like, what I do is that the Flesh Golem, if you guys don't know, breaks the break bar insanely quick. So right when the champion would spawn, I would break their break bar with my different skills. I'd use that first time they're down to kill all the ads. And then I would just, my sole purpose would be trying to keep the break bar down as much as I could. And it actually makes soloing them a lot easier. And then, other than that, my last piece of advice is, like I said, even outside of Maguma, when you're burned out, go do some fractals, go do some dungeons. You know, do the story mode on a different character, do it on an alt, because it still builds toward the same mastery pool, even though it's a different person's story mode. So that's kind of my quick guide advice until this grinding crap gets resolved. So just a quick kind of TLDR, you know, review, too long, didn't read type of thing. Get a survival build, unlock as much of your elite spec as you can to try to, so you're still kind of using it, because obviously we want to use it in the new content. Make sure when you're doing the hero challenges, break the break bar as often as possible and get rid of the ads while it's broken and the champion is kind of disabled, for lack of a better term. If you're experiencing burnout, go do other things in Maguma, like the story mode, your alt story mode, or Dragon Stand other events. If you get bored of event grinding, just go do some dungeons, kind of recharge your batteries. It works wonders. And then try to go at it with the mentality like you're leveling a new character, where, you know, it's like your first time leveling a character, and what you're doing is just experiencing the world, and becoming level 80, or in this case, getting your elite specialization, is a byproduct. That's really all I have for this video. I understand it sucks. Trust me, I know the pain. Like and subscribe for more content. Leave a comment with additional ways for people to get through the grind fest below. And if you have any questions for me, feel free to ask them. As always, guys, I will see you in the next video.